Hello and welcome. This is a new series. I love to read and I love personal development books and spiritual books, just kind of expanding our awareness. And this is a new series I want to do called Reading with Friends. And it's reading the most powerful personal and spiritual development books with friends that I know are like-minded. And so today we have our guest, Sonny Marinelli. Welcome, Sonny.
Very excited about this, Carla.
Yes, me too. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time. Sonny and I both have been students of Neville Goddard for quite some time, and one of our favorite books is The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. And we both share this big book that's falling apart. This is a collection of Neville Goddard books. It has many, but like I said, today we are going to read from The Power of Awareness, and we're just going to read chapter 2 titled Consciousness. I'm going to get us started, then I'll pass it to Sonny. So we're just going to read this chapter, and then we're going to discuss our takeaways and what stands out for us. So hope you're ready. Ready, Sonny?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Chapter 2, Consciousness from Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. It is only by a change of consciousness, by actually changing your concept of yourself, that you can build more stately mansions, the manifestations of higher and higher concepts. By manifesting is meant experiencing the result of these concepts in your world. It is of vital importance to understand clearly just what consciousness is. The reason lies in the fact that consciousness is the one and only reality. It is the first and only cause substance of the phenomena of life. Nothing has existence for man save through the consciousness he has of it. Therefore, it is of consciousness you must turn, for it is the only foundation on which the phenomena of life can be explained. If we accept the idea of a first cause, it would follow that the evolution of that cause would never result in anything foreign to itself. That is, if the first cause substance is light, all of its evolutions, fruits, and manifestations would remain light. The first cause substance being consciousness, all its evolutions, fruits, and phenomena must remain consciousness. All that could be observed would be a higher or lower form of or variation of that same thing. In other words, if your consciousness is the only reality, it must also be the only substance. All right, I'm going to stop there because I think that already I have thoughts, and I think maybe just sharing as we go might make more sense.
Sure.
So I remember reading this before. I loved the fact that the idea of first cause. So it says, if the first cause substance is light, then all of the evolutions, everything that comes from it or manifests would remain light. It just comes in different forms. And so if the first cause being consciousness, everything that comes from it remains consciousness. It just takes different forms. Okay. Did anything stand out for you as we read, or do you remember previous?
Yeah, I'm remembering this and remembering that consciousness is who we actually are, and all the other negative and horrible and ugly and self-beating thoughts that we have. Okay, the obsessive thinking, that's not consciousness.
Yeah.
No, that's not coming from consciousness because we're getting away from it. And I've been feeling it lately too with career and stuff. I went through a bit of a patch and I caught myself somewhere else with my obsessive thoughts. And I literally felt somewhere else.
Yeah.
It was a different place than I've been working from. And I realized I'm not in my consciousness now.
You were
I'm in an
unconscious.
obsessive
You were
thought pattern.
asleep.
We're sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep. And that sleep, the problem with sleeping, that kind of sleep is very loud.
Yeah.
The obsessive thoughts are really loud. The obsessive negative thoughts are really loud.
Mm-hmm.
And you almost have like, you can't get back to your consciousness because you're caught in this cave
It's like
of
quicksand.
obsessive thinking.
Yeah.
Quicksand.
Yep.
It's quicksand. Yeah.
Yep. You got in a little quagmire, Sonny, but you're coming out.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I'll finish this part and I'll pass it on. So
Okay.
it says, in other words, if your consciousness is the only reality, it must also be the only substance. Consequently, what appears to you as circumstances, conditions, and even material objects is really only the product of your own consciousness. Nature, then, as a thing or a complex of things external to your mind, must be rejected. You and your environment cannot be regarded as existing separately. You and your world are one. Therefore, you must turn from the objective appearance of things to the subjective center of things, your consciousness. So that's what you were saying. You were pulled out into the objective world, the outside world.
That's
Okay.
right.
But we must turn inward to our inner world, subjective center of things, your consciousness, if you truly desire to know the cause of the phenomena of life and how to use it, and how to use this knowledge to realize your fondest dreams. All right, take it away.
In the midst of the apparent, excuse me, contradictions, antagonisms, and contrasts of your life, there is only one principle at work, only a consciousness operating. Difference does not consist in a variety of substance, but in variety of arrangement of the same cause substance, your consciousness. The world moves motiveless necessary. Say that again, Sonny. The world moves motiveless necessary. By this is meant that it has no motive of its own, but is under the necessity of manifesting your concept, the arrangement of your mind, and your mind is always arranged in the image of all you believe and consent is true. Right. See, that's where if you start believing the obsessive thoughts in your head,
It
the negative
becomes your
thoughts in
life.
your head, well, that's your life and that's true.
Yeah.
That becomes the truth for you. The rich man, poor man, beggar man, or thief are not different minds. Wow. But different arrangements of the same mind in the same sense that a piece of steel, when magnetized, differs not in substance from its demagnetized state, but in the arrangement and order of its molecules. A single electron revolving in a specific orbit constitutes the unit of magnetism. When a piece of steel or anything else is demagnetized, the revolving electrons have not stopped. Therefore, the magnetism has not gone out of existence. There was only a rearrangement of the particles so that they produce no outside or perceptible effect. When particles are arranged at random, mixed up in all directions, the substance is said to be demagnetized. But when particles are marshaled in ranks so that a number of them face in one direction, the substance is a magnet. Magnetism is not generated, it is displayed. Health, wealth, beauty, and genius are not created. They are manifested by the arrangement of your mind, that is, by your concept of yourself. And your concept of yourself is all that you accept and consent to as true. What you consent can only be discovered by an uncritical observation of your reactions to life. Your reactions reveal where you live psychologically and where you live psychologically, and where you live psychologically determines how you live here in the outer visible world. The importance of this in your daily life should be immediately apparent. The basic nature of the primal cause is consciousness. Therefore, the ultimate substance of all things is consciousness.
You got the good part.
Yeah.
I have this underlined from one of our previous readings. It says, what you consent to can only be discovered by an uncritical observation of your reactions to life. And so it says, but whatever we conceive of ourself, whatever our self-concept is, it's all that we consent to as true. It's self-image. It's self-image. Like you said, sometimes we have a really healthy self-image and we're rocking and we're rolling and things are organized in our mind, but then something tips us off and we just fall so far away from the source or consciousness that we literally are out of our minds. It's like, I'm sure you've said to yourself many times, we've talked a lot about this before. When I feel there's a disturbance in the force, I'm out of my mind.
Yeah.
Get your mind right. I'm sure you say this, Sonny, get your mind right. Come on, Sonny.
Yeah.
Remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is so good. I love this chapter. Okay. Any other thoughts or standouts from this, or would you like to share with anybody listening?
Yeah. So I had a thought that in moments of really bad despair, moments of really sobbing, let's say, and your mind is working, right? I had an interesting moment in that because I was out of my mind. I was obsessive thinking. But then I hooked in, I said, okay, this is happening specifically for a specific reason. And I can make it in the middle of this heavy moment. I said, I can keep staying out of my mind and obsessing, or I can make this good. I can make this a source. I can make this a beautiful thing. I can make this a cleansing.
Yeah.
So instead of looking at it as this is horrible, I'm terrible, I'm weak, I'm timid, I looked at it as, oh, no. This is my strength.
Right.
I'm
Right.
releasing, I'm cleaning. It's my strength. And what that did was it stopped the obsessive thoughts. And I said, oh, purge. Get those obsessive thoughts along with the side and purge it. Get rid of it.
Right. Yes. You
So I
stepped away.
reconnected.
You stepped away from the storm that wasn't you, that's not source. And it says, what you this is what you did. You decided not to consent anymore. You weren't subscribing to those feelings anymore. You weren't crowning them as reality. So it says, what you consent, which was those big, heavy feelings, it can only be discovered by an uncritical observation of your reactions to life. So your reaction to life was not good.
No.
So you got to step away from the vehicle.
Yeah.
And understand that this is not me. I'm experiencing this and it's passing. It's like the difference between being in the train and it taking you for a ride. You were on a ride.
Yeah.
It was not a joyride.
It was a runaway train.
It was. And you stepped off the train and you're just allowing it to pass and observe it.
Yeah. And what we can also do, and it happens in certain moments, very difficult to do, but the situation I was in a while back where I was going through this, I realized in the middle of this really bad agony, it was agony. And, I believe in God and I pray with God, and I was praying for God to release some of the pain. And then I said, I don't know where it came from. I said, thank you for this, because I know this is changing me. I know I'll never be the same after this, and not in a bad way. You're allowing me, this agony is allowing me to see some of the things I didn't see that I was doing wrong. Not guilt. A path that I was on that really wasn't working. And it took this agony, took this agony to go, oh, this is getting me out. And after I said, okay, now that's enough.
You're like,
oh my God, that's enough. I got it.
I know.
I got it. I passed. Leave me alone now. My point is, I connected again through that. Instead of connecting with the obsessive negative thoughts, I connected to, okay, something good is coming from this. And I know it is because I'm already changed. I'm already a different human being because of it.
Right. But that took a very strong muscle of what we call reframing. So in the past, say 10 years ago, if you were stuck in this quicksand or this rut, how long was this a quick turnaround?
This last one?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a quick turnaround, but it was. And, let me just say this: it was in some ways more painful than any other I've had. The difference is, it was more painful than stuff I've had in the past. That we don't know. That's your job as a psychologist to figure that out. But what the difference between this one was, I was aware of every moment of this.
Right.
I wasn't just blasting and panicking and pacing and crying and running around and looking for something to stop the pain. I was so stuck in the agony that I had no other choice but to look it directly in the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I wouldn't say it was a short one, but it was different. It was different.
Well, it sounds like it was conscious. You were awake.
I was awake through this one, which made it more painful.
Yep. I say that all the time. Like I share my drinking journey with you, and I'm like, I swear I was so conscious. I've studied this kind of stuff, but yet I still used alcohol to freaking cope. I don't know why, but I was joking today. I was saying that because someone said, oh, this person is struggling with alcohol, but they're so wise. They really are very, and I was like, that makes no difference. I used to go to like spiritual lectures and then go get blitzed after work, like on a 6-pack. Like it didn't matter, which made my issue and my dependency and my addiction so much worse, because it's like, it was having like a lobotomy with my totally awake, with my eyes open. They didn't put
Yes.
me under, because in the
Right.
past I've gone through shit and it didn't hurt that bad because I was like asleep and I wasn't aware. Now that we're aware, and once we wake up, when we go through stuff, it's like, oh, ouch. Oh, sweet mother of pearl, stop. Oh God.
Whoa, man. Whoa, man. Agony. But I've never changed in the past from my licks, from my beatings, from my, I never changed from the hard times. I always went back to my same behavior.
Yeah.
And that's the difference with the last one I went through was, okay, I'm changed now.
Yeah.
This is an awakening now. This isn't a punishment.
Right.
This is me being awake and understanding that you need to do some things differently.
Yeah. That's great.
You know,
That's good.
and that's why I love this chapter so much, because it just explains it so well. You want to get on the runaway train? Look, being in a consciousness doesn't mean every day is going to be wonderful and beautiful. There's going to be pain in that consciousness. There will be pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're in there. You're okay with your client because it's the truth. Whoever's in there is the truth.
Yeah. And the farther we are away, and the further we're aware of things, I mean, sometimes the harder it hits. Like when you hear a truth for the first time, it's like, oh, ouch, ooh. But then when you experience it again, it gets easier. So
yeah,
that's this work. That is this work. But I think, how would you say in general, reading Neville? I know we've had groups before. How would you say this work helps kind of you in your everyday life or your journeys?
it always reminds me. That's why we have to do it so often, because it always reminds me. Like, I'll read the chapter. I haven't read this chapter in a while. When we read it, this is amazing. We read it a few times. I haven't read it in a while, and I forgot. I forgot.
Yeah.
This is what I need to do. This is the stuff I need to do. This is how I have to practice my life. Yeah. Because we forget, and when we forget, we get on the runaway train again.
Yep.
Because it's because it's in the 3D. It's so close. It's so close. But someone told me God, but God is closer than your own breath.
Yeah.
God is closer to you than your own breath.
Yeah.
So, don't get on the 3D world. Don't run out there. Don't get on the train.
Yeah.
It's right here. But so for me, it takes time to decipher this stuff. It's not easy. It's very dense. Yeah. But when I start to get it, it took me like 5 readings of this to finally get it.
Right.
When it does, it registers, and it changes my life every day. It changes my behavior, my thinking every day.
Mm-hmm. It's a way of life. I think that's what it is for me. It's a lifestyle. It's not some cute, like, I read this book once. Like, I genuinely think, just, with the group we study with, it's we've at least read it 3 times over together as a group over the last few years, and just returning to it, like you said, like, I forget this stuff. What cracked me up was when it said difference does not consist in variety of substance, but the variety arranges in the same substance. So basically, everything is the same. It doesn't matter. It's impersonal. And it reminded me of the book we read, The Impersonal Life, your favorite book, about how consciousness just is. It's the life force. It's our experience. But we determining how close or far away we are in it, our experience of it, depending on how we think about the situation. Like you said, you turned a situation which was deep agony from punishment to gratitude and restorative, a lesson that you learned that you can always take with you, and you probably won't ever learn again because you chose to be awake. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Sonny, this was a pleasure. Thank you for taking your time. Yeah.
Of course, it's always good. It's always good.
Oh. All right. Well, I'm
always
sure
come
you'll
out with something.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be on again. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening.
All right, thank you.
Until next time. We'll see ya.